Are you gonna help me, Mootsy? You're a good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. Well, show everybody how to clean out the wood stove for me, okay? You're gonna be my assistant. Get the eco fan out of the way. So, anytime I clean this, alright, so what we have here is what's left over from an all night long fire. And fires in this seem to last about 8 to 12 hours, depending on what kind of wood you get it. Jotul is spelled J-O-T-U-L. And these stoves are really, really efficient. So what I'm doing now is just kind of using a piece of kindling to kind of knock the ashes back down through the grate. And then underneath here, there's a tray we can pull out and go dump the ashes real quick and conveniently, you know. So we're ready to keep heating the house. And we live in the mountains above 9,300 feet in New Mexico. And this is the only thing we use to heat our entire home. You know, we could plug in heaters and pay the electric bill and all that, but you've probably seen in recent news that's pretty expensive. So it's much better for our lifestyle and health and happiness to go out, find our own fuel wood, cut it with a saw, and take care of ourselves, being more self-reliant, self-sufficient. So from a 24-hour period, here's the tray of ashes. And it's a little bit hot and the embers are red. So what you want to do is just dispose of this responsibly. We're going to use the ashes out in our driveway in the wintertime for traction and to fill potholes, that sort of thing. So you can use your ash for something useful. You don't have to just throw it away. And it's not all that messy, and it's not that hard to do this way. With the tray, you just pull it out once a day, every other day, every third day. Take care of it. You can let the ash build up for a week if you want to. And some say that helps protect the metal. It works like an insulator, and I agree with that also. I've done that. But right now I'm just going to try and keep the fireplace kind of going. And yeah. We'll show you what happens. That's making pretty good heat. What do you think? Let's go dump the ashes, boy. Alright. So we're going to dump the ashes where we know we're not going to start any sort of a forest fire. And of course, it's real windy, so you want to stand on the appropriate side of the ashtray so it doesn't blow in your face. Give yourself emphysema the quick way. And this is one of those low spots that I've been kind of working on filling in. And then we'll cover it with gravel. But any icy spots in the driveway, this stuff really works well. And it can help be used like a for dusting in the chicken coop. We can put it in there. We can also dry muddy spots. So it's very useful in certain places. There we go. See, there's a slide right back in there. This just has to be put on. That works like a good little vent sometimes also. Okay. So what do you want to do with this? We want to make another fire. We could put some wood on. And what we've done is saved some of our wood inside the house, so it's super dry. And these are offcuts from our sawmill. Makes very good kindling. So when we put this in, what I like to do is kind of set them on their edge, and then they burn fast and hot that way. You can see it's just real thin wood, and it's very dry. When you measure the dryness of this wood, it's less than 20%. Some of it's around 11, 12%. And so what I'll do is I'll just kind of let that take off. And there's not very much in there. You know, we've already got the house warmed up to 75 degrees, so we don't need a lot today. Just a little bit at a time. It's a very efficient stove. It's different than most other wood burners because this one seals up so nice. This is a regulator airflow. So when you trip the back here, this right here, I don't know if you can see inside, but there's literally a catalytic converter built into the back. And if you flip that lever, it forces all the smoke to tumble inside the firebox, get reburnt, and then very little smoke comes out the top. And the eco fan doesn't take any electricity at all. Once the base of this gets warmer than 85 degrees, that propeller will start to turn. And strategically, what I'm trying to do is draw the cold air past the smoke pipe, which also gets very hot, just like your stove. And that moves cool air and makes it, cool air weighs more and is more dense, so it can displace warm air easier. So this is actually just a hair more efficient than turning the fan like this and trying to blow it into the room. We already have a ceiling fan, so you know, making it go into the room more isn't that big of a deal. And then this way, I'm drawing the cold air, making it go past the pipe into my little wood pile, and it seems to help quite a lot. So now that'll take off and flame up big. If you want to make it flame fast, just go like this. The glass is always going to get dirty on you. There's nothing you can do about that. A hot fire like this will make it so you don't get creosote buildup, because we're burning pitchwood. This is a type of pine or fir. A lot of this we're burning is Douglas fir. So it's got a very good R value for heat, but it burns fairly fast. Just get it started, close the vent, and you've got a pretty good fire going. And this will last probably an hour with just that little bit of wood, 3 little sticks. Yeah. So I can highly recommend a stove like this. We were lucky to get it. Jotul. This is a Bionaire. It's a type of air fan that also filters, and this works very well. We set it on the floor, and you get what we call a thermal conveyor. But what's really happening is this pushes the cold, more dense air down the hallway and into the main room, and then warm air travels the ceiling naturally all the way through and back again. And this can help warm a room by 2 or 3 degrees extra than just trying to force the air from the warmer room to the cold room. So force your cold air out of the cold room into the warm room, and it naturally gets replaced by warm air. Your ceiling fan direction in the winter time to help you stay warm, the idea is to make it suck the cold air up to the fan and then move it down the ceiling and down your walls, okay, to help create an even warmth. Seems counterintuitive, but it works actually quite well for us. So here I've opened a door to kind of let it draft, and you can kind of see how the fire's a little bit smoky first getting started off. You want to try to give your fire as much air as possible so that it really wants to be a rip-roaring fire with very little smoke. At first, the steam and smoke as it comes off, that's what can help collect in your stovepipe if you just let it smolder. So you want to kind of close your door to about a crack like so, and it'll draft and produce a lot of heat for you that way. And really let it get going before you add big wood to it. All right, so it's starting to burn pretty well. Let's add some more. And again, we're going to take those offcuts and use those for kindling. And it doesn't take very much. I usually only put in about 3 or 4 pieces. And that's usually plenty. So don't get in a hurry. This takes a second. We're going to let this sit for about 15 minutes and then come back and check on it. What are you doing? Are you warm enough? So the other thing we do to help ensure that we have dry wood in the wintertime, you can see this rack is full. So you know, that's probably 3 days worth of fuel wood for us. There's a lot of room back here, which is nice and fire safe according to code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put wood from outside kind of around the stove down here, maybe 3 or 4 days early before I need to use it. And that'll help make it as dry as this over here. So that gives you the highest R value and efficiency from your stove without the opportunity of maybe plugging up your chimney. Ours goes straight up through the ceiling and the roof, and that's the easiest type to clean. When they put elbows in them and make them go through the wall, those tend to plug up. So here's kind of what you want. Once your fire gets going, it should be almost no smoke that you can see. We got a little bit of steam coming out since we just started the fire, but that's pretty good. That's our, right there, that's our chimney, or top there. So about once a year I got to get up there and make sure it's wide open. We're gonna go over here and get some firewood to take inside. You can kind of see what I have to do. We have plenty of wood, and the reason being is this is like a 4-year wood program. Every year I'm going to use probably 2 rows of wood, and my rows are about 50 feet long and some places 8 feet high. So there's a lot of cords here, and I'm not covering it very well. A lot of it just kind of gets covered with snow and ice, and snow and ice doesn't really sink into the wood. It doesn't make it real wet. This is all pretty dry wood. It would burn the way it is, but we still want it to be more dry. And so we'll split some of these so they burn well, and set these aside for more kindling. These are the offcuts from the sawmill. They look like little pieces of boards, but yeah. Boom, some kindling, nice and dry. The smaller you can split your wood, the better it burns, and the more heat you can get out of it quicker. The big pieces for overnighters, well, yeah, they'll burn slow, but if there's any sort of tree sap or moisture left in them, that's what gets clogged up in your smokestack. I hit a big tree knot. Boom. Cool. So we're gonna fill up the tote and take it in. So I'm gonna bucket in some wood by hand here, and it's gonna weigh about 40 pounds. So you don't have to go to a gym. Just do your wood for fire and heat. You'll be all set. You'll look like the brawny man in no time. All right. So we've brought in a load of wood. What we're gonna do is just set some of it back here just for an overnight, and that helps it dry substantially. All right, the stove's starting to burn pretty hot. Pretty soon this eco fan will start to spin, and once that's turning for about 5 minutes, then I'll flip this lever in the back here and make it burn as efficiently as possible. No, you don't have to touch it for 5 or 6 hours. So yeah, if you're looking to heat your home with wood and do it yourself, this is what we learned along the way. Good luck.